The morning air was crisp as I rushed down the sidewalk, coffee in one hand and my bag bouncing at my side. My boyfriend walked beside me, effortlessly keeping up with my hurried pace. "You know," I said with a soft laugh, dodging a pedestrian, "we're always rushing. When do we actually get to live the life we keep dreaming about?" He smiled, his voice steady and warm. "We already are, Eve. Every step, every plan, it's all part of our story. You're building systems, I'm designing spaces, but together, we're creating something bigger." I glanced at him, my heart skipping a beat. "And what's your dream in this story?" "To create something timeless," he said, his gaze locking with mine. "Like us, Eve." I blushed, feeling a flutter. "You're such a romantic. For me, I just want to solve problems people don't even know they have, and maybe make you proud." He stopped me for a moment, his hand brushing mine. "You already do, Eve. I love you." I smiled, squeezing his hand. "I love you too." As the train arrived, it felt like a quiet promise. Our future, built together, was already on its way. The train doors slid shut behind me, and I found a seat by the window. As the city blurred into motion, I couldn't stop smiling, replaying his words. "You already do, Eve. I love you." His voice stayed with me, filling me with warmth and reassurance. I felt blessed, knowing I had someone who believed in me so deeply. As the day loomed ahead with meetings and deadlines, I found myself counting the hours until we'd meet again. I already knew what I wanted to say to him. "Thank you for always believing in me. You make me feel like I can do anything. I'm so lucky to have you." The train slowed to my stop, and I stepped off with a quiet smile. Whatever challenges the day held, I knew I could handle them. The thought of seeing him again made everything feel lighter. It was all worth it for the moments we'd share together. The moment I stepped onto the bustling city streets, the reality of the day unfurled before me, each person a reminder of my own journey. My heart raced as I checked my phone, hoping to see his name light up the screen. In the midst of meetings and deadlines, the thought of our upcoming reunion kept me grounded, filling me with determination. Each step I took echoed with possibilities, as if the city itself was cheering me on. I could already picture us together. His laughter, the way he looked at me like I was the only person in the world. With every tick of the clock, I felt my excitement grow, a sweet anticipation that made the day ahead feel lighter. The city was buzzing as I stepped out of the office, the weight of the day fading with each step toward our favorite cafe. I spotted him through the window, sketching something in his notebook, completely in his element. When he looked up and smiled, it felt like the whole day had been worth it. We talked about everything, his new design project, my small win at work, and somehow, it always comes back to our dream. A place we'd build together, where his creativity and my ideas could come alive. As we walked home, hand in hand under the city lights, I realized it's not just about the dream. It's about moments like this, our little rituals, our quiet talks. With him, I don't just feel like I'm chasing the future. I feel like I'm already living it. Strolling past the familiar haunts where laughter echoed and dreams were shared, I felt every step deepen our connection. The evening air was filled with soft breezes, wrapping us in a cocoon of warmth. Each glance we exchanged held unspoken promises of tomorrow, igniting sparks of hope for the future we envisioned together. As we passed by lively restaurants, the aroma of delicious food blended with the cool night air, making the moment even more enchanting. We paused momentarily to take in the sight before us, the city alive and pulsing with energy, mirroring the excitement within our hearts. He walked me home, and as we stood at my door, "Thank you for today," I whispered, my voice barely carrying the weight of all I felt. His smile was soft, his eyes full of quiet affection. "Always," he murmured, pulling me into a warm embrace that I wished would last forever. "Good night," he said, stepping back reluctantly, and I watched him disappear into the night, leaving behind a piece of himself in the air around me. Inside, the silence felt different, calmer, softer, like it carried his presence. I let the warm water of the shower wash over me, thinking of his laugh, his touch, the way he always made me feel understood. Afterward, I knelt to pray, thanking God for bringing someone so kind, so wise, into my life. As I slipped under the covers, his image filled my mind. With that, I let myself fall into sleep, wrapped in thoughts of him and the love that made everything else fade away. In my dream, he held me close, his arms a perfect cocoon of warmth and safety. The world outside faded as his presence wrapped around me, filling my heart with a sense of peace I had always longed for. My heartbeat quickened, not from fear or uncertainty, but from the sheer joy of being so deeply loved. I let myself relax into the dream, savoring every moment, every soft gesture. "You're so lucky," I murmured to myself in the dream, a smile tugging at my lips as I felt his fingers trace gentle patterns on my hand. It was tender, intimate, and so achingly real that I didn't want it to end. But suddenly, the sound of a knock shattered the serenity, pulling me from the dream like a gust of cold wind. My eyes opened, and for a moment, I lay there, trying to separate reality from the lingering echoes of his embrace. I sat up, the remnants of the dream still lingering in my chest as I glanced toward the door. Who could it be at this hour? With a deep breath, I wrapped myself in my robe and made my way across the room, my heart still fluttering, though now for a different reason. At the door startled me. Confused, I opened it, and there she was, my sister Amy, standing with her suitcase and a raised eyebrow. "You forgot, didn't you?" she said, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. "Amy, I started, but she cut me off, clearly unimpressed. I tried calling you a dozen times, but of course you didn't answer. Thank God Lily and her boyfriend were at the bus station in KL City. They spotted me and brought me here." I groaned, running a hand through my hair. "I'm so sorry. My phone died and I didn't even realize how much time had passed." Amy sighed, setting her suitcase down but softening a little. "You really need to sort that out. I was sitting there stranded, thinking I'd have to book a hotel or something." I know, I said, feeling terrible. "But I'm so glad Lily and her boyfriend showed up." "Well, you owe them dinner at least," Amy said, her lips twitching into a small smile. "And maybe me too." Leaned back on the couch, sipping her tea and eyeing me suspiciously. "All right, what's going on? What's got you so distracted that you forgot me at the bus station?" I fumbled with my mug, trying to avoid her gaze. "Nothing," I said quickly. "Just busy, I guess." Amy narrowed her eyes. "Busy with what? Or should I say who?" She paused. "Wait a minute. Are you in love with someone? Is that why you're ignoring your poor sister?" "What? No," I blurted. "Oh my God, you are! Who is he? Why didn't you tell me?" she demanded. I sighed, realizing there was no escaping this. "Fine," I muttered. "His name is Ian Eagle." Amy's jaw dropped before she broke into a delighted squeal. "Tell me everything!" I couldn't help but laugh, finally relaxing. "It's new, okay? I wasn't ready to talk about it yet." Amy softened, reaching over to squeeze my hand. "Well, as long as he's good to you, I approve. But next time, answer your phone, lover girl." I talked for hours, the conversation flowing effortlessly as we shared stories, laughed and teased each other. It was almost 1 a.m. when we finally noticed the time. Amy stretched, stifling a yawn. "All right, I'm calling it a night. It's been a long day, and I need a proper bed." "Yeah, me too," I said, standing and gathering our empty mugs. Amy smiled warmly. "But don't think you're off the hook about Ian. I'll have more questions tomorrow." I laughed, shaking my head. "Good night, Amy." As I turned off the lights and climbed into my bed, I let out a long sigh of relief. The house was finally quiet. The lingering guilt from earlier replaced by the comforting warmth of reconnecting with Amy. I settled into my pillow, pulling the blanket over me, and closed my eyes. Please, I thought to myself, let me pick up where I left off in my dream. I smiled at the memory of it, the warmth, the safety, the feeling of being completely loved. I woke up early the next day, as usual, Saturday morning. The house was quiet, still wrapped in that peaceful pre-dawn stillness. I knelt on my prayer mat. Thank you, God, for this new day. Guide me, give me clarity, and help me understand what's in my heart. With a deep breath, I got up and headed to the kitchen. As I filled the kettle, the sky outside was just starting to lighten. Soft footsteps shuffled in behind me. You seriously do this every morning? Amy asked. I smirked, handing her a mug of coffee. Habit. She raised an eyebrow. Okay, what's that mean, lover girl? I shrugged. Ian always says to wake up at least an hour before sunrise. Gives you a head start before the world catches up. Amy took a slow sip, watching me over the rim. So, about Ian. I sighed. I knew you'd bring him up. Obviously. She nudged me playfully. 6 months and you never thought to mention him. I would keep writing about that Saturday morning. The way Ian's voice felt like home, the moment I introduced him to my sister, Amy, and the laughter that filled the air. Love back then was effortless, untouched by time. But today, my heart calls me to scribe something deeper. Today is February 4th, 2025. It marks 25 years since I became Ian's wife. A quarter of a century of love, trials, laughter, and faith. Love is not just passion. It is devotion, sacrifice, and a vow kept through every season. Scribe it for our children, Ian once told me. So they understand that love isn't just fun, lust, or luxury. It's a sacred duty, a gift from God that builds a family and brings life into the world. With God's permission, our love became more than just ours. It became Angel, Alice, Jake, Ethan, and Liam. A love that endured storms and sunshine, heartbreak and healing, struggles and triumphs. Through it all, love never left us, because love was never just ours. It was God's gift, entrusted to us. And if I could choose again, I would still choose Ian, our love, our family, our story, scribed with faith and devotion. This is our love story.